welcome back. And it's off to the diplomatic heart of Abuja, where an uproar, it's now an uproar after FCT Minister Nyesom Wike issued 30-day quit and pay notices to 34 foreign missions and international organizations over alleged arrears of ground rents. Those are fees that are payable for the land their chancery buildings occupy. Now, Wike's threat: settle outstanding charges running into billions of naira or face sealing or repositioning of the embassy premises. Now, his position rests on Section 28 of the FCT Land Use Act, which permits revocation for contravention of any express condition of a certificate of occupancy. Enter civil society heavyweight SERAP, which is the Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project, petitioning President Tinubu to halt the clampdown. Now, SERAP argues that the notice breaches the Vienna Convention on Diplomatic Relations 1981, specifically Articles 22 and 23, guaranteeing immunity of mission premises from search, requisition, or seizure, and often exempting them from local taxes and dues unless expressly agreed. Now, the group warns that shutting down embassies could trigger reciprocity or reciprocal sanctions against Nigerian missions abroad and jeopardize economic ties, as well as undermine Abuja's international image.
So, to unpack this legal, diplomatic, and political stake, we're joined by Okomi Adeniran. He's a legal practitioner and also analyst here at New Central. You're welcome, Okomi.
Thank you for having me. Good morning.
Thank you for being here.
We spoke during the week, didn't we?
We did. Yes.
Do you work here? In any case, it's a very interesting.
We should give you your own member of your own MFR.
CON. So it's a very interesting state of affairs when it comes to the FCT minister and his expressions. Let's put it so. However, this is something that one would think that, oh, but there is such and such a constitution, such and such the Vienna
Convention.
Yeah, exactly. Is it that there seems to be some ignorance on the part of the FCT minister, or is it just simply him just expressing his very bullish characteristic? Let me put it that way.
Well, I believe.
Thank you.
Well, I believe that. I won't say ignorance because Mr. Wike is a lawyer.
Which is very, very unique.
You know, he's a lawyer, so he knows the law. At least, presumably, he knows the law. Now, what has happened over time, right, has been someone who feels he's powerful. He can do, in quotes, and undo. To the extent that you take a step and nobody's trying to checkmate or trying to check you. Now, look at the way this way has been. You want to seal up embassies. The truth about this issue, it's just, it's very clear. You cannot go to an embassy to say you want to seal it up. Legally, if we're going to talk about it, just even look at the law. The Vienna Convention, that's what it was, I think it was 1961, yes. That we're talking about, already it states clearly, Article 22, just like you read. It states clearly, you cannot, invade somebody's, property, embassy, in that sense. It is foreign mission. They're supposed to have, it's as if they're in their own country. That is the way it is. So, having Mr. Wike say that I'm going to seal up, it's unimaginable. It shouldn't be. And again, to even now say that even if you want to take any step or want to do anything, the Land Use Act is very clear. Section 42 is very clear. If you want to recover rent, you need to go to the court. Go to the magistrate court. It is there, very clear. The part that he referred to, saying that, oh, you have a certificate of occupancy, because of that, you need to pay your rent. If you don't do that, we have the right to, take over that particular property. But you can't just go there and go say, oh, I'm going to seal it up.
Could you walk us through the Vienna Convention, or walk us through the laws or the framework that guides the possession of lands by embassies in other countries? Now, I know that you have just said that it's foreign land, basically. Yes. So is it under purchase or under rent, which seems to be the bone of contention here?
Well, as it is, right? It's for the embassies, right, it is a land that belongs to Nigeria. But as immediately they got there and they've been given that particular, it belongs to them. To the extent that even if someone in Nigeria and even the government wants to get in, they need to get the permission before you can. It's like you want to enter a country, you need to get a visa. You can't just decide to say, oh, I'm going to fly into. You need to get a permission to go into. So it means that now that they're occupying the place, it belongs to them until they relinquish and say, okay, we no longer, we're not here again. If you look at, I think Article 30 of the Vienna Convention, even talks about the premises of a diplomat. It belongs to, it is not supposed to be invaded. It belongs to them.
Not the embassies now, just the premises.
The premises. If for example, a diplomat who has decided to rent, or maybe probably decided to, build in a particular place in the country, for example, in Nigeria, where they stay. It's a diplomatic
so that's why
ground.
the residents are always like, it's just there.
Yes.
The residents of the High Commissioner of the British High Commission, there's one. The U.S. consulate, there's another. Where the U.S. where their heads are, the Swiss one.
Yes.
It's like Downing Street. 10 Downing Street.
Yes.
It's just that one. It's not moving.
It's not moving.
Anyone that is going back, that's their own house.
So that's it. There's no contention about it. But I'm surprised that Mr. Wike, who is a lawyer, who do this kind of thing.
And so we have to ask about Wike's approach at this point, because I mean, as Mazino rightfully put, it is bullish in quotation here.
Yes.
Now, and we know the kind of person he is, right? He might still want to,
ruffle feathers with them and
I'm looking for a local balance.
Yeah, that TikTok trend. That TikTok trend where like there's nothing wrong with me, it's just that my shoulders are high. In this case, it feels like the third Abuja. There we go. So what if he pulls this off? And can he pull it off? Because we know this man.
Well, if that happens, it's going to be disastrous.
What are the repercussions?
So one of the things, right? It's just like you read to. They can decide to do the same thing you've done to them. One, they can decide to close the embassy and just say, okay, we're moving. You remember there was a story about Nigeria and Indonesia that they had an issue. The man was pressed to the back of the car, and he was, I think it was beaten or something happened.
It was maimed. Yeah.
You remember what we did? The first thing was we started taking steps. I'm talking about Nigeria now. Like, this shouldn't happen, and they had a series of meetings. And now think about it. That's just one man. If you now decide to seal up an embassy, truncate their, process for that, maybe for some days, what I believe what they can do, right, is number one, to say, you know what, we are going to even do the same thing to you. I'll give an example. One of the states, one of the countries that they listed, South Africa, we're still fighting about like xenophobia in South Africa. The same thing as it's a spark.
Yeah, it's a spark. It's a ripple effect. I mean, the ball is in Mazino's court, but
Mazino? I did not know I had a stake in this.
No, because I mean, you got the next question, but
okay,
given the status of Abuja being the capital of Nigeria, and I'm sure that all of these embassies have gotten this notice. What's it looking like for us on the international stage?
Well, it's not looking good, because one of the things I read, and I was surprised when I saw that, was Ghana Embassy said, we've not gotten a formal notice. So it's been, just talking over the internet, or just a speech, this is what I'm going to do, I'm going to seal up. They've not even gotten a formal, like, okay,
write a letter. It's like hearing about your father's funeral on the news.
On the news. It's very, and it speaks to one thing. It speaks to how our politicians behave. No respect for the rule of law in the country, and now you're taking it to the international scene.
Carry a bad behavior outside.
It's at this point we should. Democracy was 2026, right? We celebrated, and then even we are over 60, right? By now we should know the right thing to do. Our politicians should not only try to show that they are powerful, but they should try to take things legally. Take legal steps. This is what we're supposed to do. Take the step you're supposed to take. Write letters. In fact, I said over the news the day I was here that you have not even, gone to court to say, okay, these are the things that are happening. We want to take this step. All you're saying is that I'm going to seal up. You're owing us. You're doing this. You've not even heard from them. There's a rule of fair hearing. You have alleged that somebody has done something. Listen to them and hear them first. And the only way to do that is go to court. go and tell the court that, oh, this and this, we have this record, this has happened, and therefore we want the court to do this. And then the court now call them and say, okay, we've seen this. Can you speak to this? And then you hear from them. It might even be that probably from your own record, no, nothing was supposed to be paid. But you just felt that, oh, maybe things got mixed up and stuff. So the process, the way it is, right, is not looking good. Intentional sin is not, hearing that a country wants to set up your embassy. You start feeling like, okay, what are you trying to, it shows one thing. It shows that they are very, hostile. Once a country starts feeling like, okay, why are they hostile? Why are they being hostile? If they start thinking about, okay, what can we do to
recall the diplomats for starters? I wanted to say that we actually reached out to the Director Lands FCT, but we got no response from them. We also reached out to Mr. Larry Alayenka, that's Wike's SA Media. We also got no response. So we actually did try to make this a very balanced conversation, but we didn't get that. Hence, we have Mr. Okiki here with us, giving us, well, the impact, a legal impact of all of this. So I have a very interesting question here. Wike being a lawyer and a very brilliant man, by the way, where does the Ministry of Foreign Affairs fall in here, and how come there seems to be no communication between the FCTA, the FCT Minister, and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs?
Well, it goes to what I was saying, that there is no proper, synergy.
It's never been synergy with all of our MDAs.
For example, someone like Mr. Wike, he believes that I'm like, in our normal balance, I can,
I love it. I love it. I really do.
I can just stand up and then, do what I want to do. Nobody questions me, right? And, this speaks to what, the president also should look at. That's, you can't appoint someone, you really appointed the person for a purpose, to work, right? If I'm so certain that he's seen all these things, because he made the comments recently when he went to open the ICC that don't mind all those critics. Let them be, let them do what they are saying, let them say what they're saying. And for me, it's painful for me because these are the people that voted you, in quotes. I won't say more than that. These are the people that voted you, right, into office. You should even, think about what they're saying, that, oh, if these people are complaining about this, shouldn't I take steps regarding this? But somebody is doing something, people are complaining, you feel like, oh, we're doing what they're doing, don't mind them. And that looks to me like what you're really, concerned about is how to get those monies from those people. The taxes but what's the end of that? Nobody's going to feel it. Now, Mr. Wike has decided to take this step, decided to sideline the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and even till now, I've not even heard anything from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Nothing has been said. Nothing has been, so like, let's try to. But one thing that we should understand about our politicians and, in Nigeria is that people don't get to address things until when everything gets down. And then there's one issue, it's making the news, and, it's until that time that somebody feels like, oh, why should it be happening? Oh, this has been happening for a long time. Because I know that this has been in the news for a while, and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs should, by this time, stepped in. To say, oh, Mr. Wike, just hold on there. Let's take it up. For Ghana Embassies to be saying that we've not gotten an official notice, it means that Ministry of Foreign Affairs have not even reached out to them.
I mean, Okiki, I have to ask you about, this doesn't have to do with this embassies or the notice or, the ground rent, but particularly about, separations of power.
Yeah.
Right? The FCT minister has one job, and that's to oversee, and then under that, there are other umbrellas. If you look at the organography, how they call it in the organization, there's definitely the part and agency that is in charge of land use, charge collection, and all of that. Why are we seeing officials who are like leaving their positions and doing other, parts of it? Is this a Wike thing, or is this a current to current? Because I'm looking at it, it's got 17 days of, project inaugurations that are going on in Abuja. It has, it's now become a more of a profit collection, body, as opposed to, it's like, what are you doing? Why are you going? It's like you've gone after all
is it for the people, or is it a brand process for the government?
You know what I mean? Like, and it's always now more profit making as opposed to just being a minister and doing your job.
So what I've noticed from Mr. Wike is that, well, I would say that he wants to work. He wants to show that, yes, I'm in control, I'm in charge here. Yes, there's some things he shouldn't meddle into, like things like, ground rent. There's people that can do that.
Yeah.
There are, you have the permanent secretaries, you have the directors.
Yeah.
You have, you are a politician, you are supposed to oversee, right? Let them do their job. In fact, it is in that they can then, speak to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Oh, this has come to our notice. Can you take it up? Right? Even if they need to say, okay, can you please talk to the minister, right? But, Mr. Wike, like you said, is full of energy. He wants to do things. And,
That's a word.
And he wants to get into it like, oh, let's do it, let's do it, let's do it. But in doing all those things, you forget that there are other people that you can also have a discussion with. They can even advise and say, oh, look, I think we shouldn't go this way. Let's go this other way. We need to.
Are you sure he's talking to the president? I'm asking because before the president stepped into his role as the president of Nigeria, or rather when he did, there were so many, we talked about his itinerary, flying there and there to gather support and friends and everything, and foreign investment. Talking about foreign investment, now the president is working his work and he's doing pretty good at that. Now comes your FCT minister,
trying to,
who's now turning his cannons around in-house for friendly fire, saying we're going to close these embassies down. These are the same embassies that we went to in the beginning to say we'd like you guys to come and invest in Nigeria. So, is the very brilliant FCT minister, Mr. Nyesom Wike, actually in communication with the president at this point, or are we left to wonder how in disarray, and I use that word intentionally after the 2025 Democracy Day speech by the president, does it seem like there's a disengagement when it comes to communication between the FCT minister and the president?
It looks like that. Basically, it looks like that.
It's not. It could be free reign, so just free reign.
Free reign, huh?
Yeah, just free reign. Go and do what you want
to do. But the thing about it is that these guys are politicians. They've turned everything to a political scene. Like anything. Oh, you have the place now. You can't be too sure. The agreement that was signed when they were campaigning, that, oh, I'll give you FCT, just, do whatever you want to do. You look at it, right? Now, there's so many things. From what I heard, he's doing well at FCT. But the thing about it is that you can be sure that so many things, issues like this, shouldn't come up because the press should like, oh, I heard about this thing. Can you? But I think there's something in that place that probably the president might not even to control. I'm just, because think about it now. Even when he called the president for the opening of the ICC, I noticed that the president was, he was named after the president.
Oh yes, you only noticed it was in that was exactly what the occasion was for.
And I was speaking to someone before, coming to the studio, and I said that I feel that it's just basically politics we are, running in Nigeria as we speak. This administration, I'm going to say that, and it's because, if you look at it, there's one person that has exalted himself and feels that I must be immortalized. I must, this everybody must notice me, even when I'm out of this place. This name must remain. And
is that a nautical fancy?
Oh well.
Yeah, because we want to leave a mark. You're already the president. You get what I mean? There's no need to, more get legacy projects. So at this point, is this sycophancy or this need to immortalize?
I don't think need to immortalize.
Your name is already on the laurels.
Do you live in an embassy where you cannot be touched?
Judith. But the thing about it is this, and what I'm going to is that even if you want to have a legacy, the legacy should be that during your time, people were able to they enjoyed. They can talk about you and speak about, oh, during so person's time, I had this, I was able to do this. If you look at it, but celebrating June 12, not because when we say June 12, we remember
MK Abiola,
in fact, he didn't get to the place, but there are so many places that they've named after him.
Yeah.
You understand? So going back to the FCT minister, right? Basically, he feels that he's uncontrollable.
Okay.
Well, you can't be too sure. Maybe there's been an agreement that's been signed during campaign, like that is giving all these things that he's doing. We can't be too sure, but plainly, I'll say that the president needs to look into this issue. They need to tame him because, I use that word carefully.
Wow, you better
carefully, because sincerely, if any step is taken, and I speak regarding the embassy now, the international scene, they're looking at it. They're looking at what is happening. Yes, they're probably just, putting it under the
My own is very simple, that Abuja is very reminiscent of Lagos one time when all their agencies slowly became profit collection and levy collection agencies.
And it's getting to
and
that.
it's getting close. That's what I gotta say.
Sorry, just
real quick.
Yeah.
Sorry, very quickly. Somebody was saying yesterday that look at how much somebody bought a car, right? And it's all over the news. Let me just even say it. It's Bonner Boy, right? And then the person that sold the car, right, said, I bought this car. I sold this car this amount. I bought it at this amount. And this person bought it. I think it bought it at $500, $100,000, and the person bought it. The person that bought it now bought it.
It's in the billions. Yeah.
And he said, that means that they're really taxing them there.
Indeed.
So it seems that all the agencies now, what they've got in the
it's profit making. It's profit making.
Let's round this up.
carried a Lagos mentality.
And to tie in your last comments, Judith, if you say that the FCT seems to be like Lagos in the past, who used to be the governor of Lagos State? Thank you very much, Adeniran Okiki, for joining us here for this very interesting conversation. A little lighter than it was during the week.
Yeah.